The story about the driver who was cheated. When having to carry the remains of a person who has just died. This guy is a private driver, that is, his family's driver. He runs wherever anyone calls. One day, there was a customer, a regular customer of mine, who just contacted me and asked to help her take a box of goods to the countryside at an address like this. If you're a regular customer, you just need to ask for the address and then tell me the price. She's okay, so I agree. The next day, I went to this woman's house to receive the goods back to my hometown. He said that the box was very big and wrapped with tape very carefully. I also asked her what was inside. This woman also gave a cursory answer. Then she said inside there is only a little food, fruit, dry food, nothing too important. Did you also wonder at that time? He said, if the items are not so important, then why don't you send them by post or another car? But spend money on renting your car. But don't care about other people, as long as they hire you and you have money, that's fine. Instead of normal people driving goods during the day, but no. This guy decided to transport goods at night, because he said, firstly, we run at night and the road is deserted, we go very fast, and because we travel at night, the weather is cool enough to make it easier there, especially without the police. I just calculated the time to get to the address to deliver the goods. It was about 3 to 4 a.m. When I brought the box back to the address that she sent, I felt like my body was somehow restless. Then he tried to reassure himself, like maybe it was cold at night, and his body was a bit tired today, that's all. One moment while he was driving, he heard a human voice from the back seat. Then for a small moment, he glanced through his rear-view mirror and saw a shadow. The figure of a woman sitting behind the chair made him startled. He stepped on the brake pedal. Then I turned around to look back and didn't see anyone. At this moment, he tried to calm himself down. He thought that it was probably because he was running at night, and because he didn't sleep, he was tired, dizzy, and saw such nonsense. Then he continued driving. He ran a little further, then he had a cold feeling running down his spine. At this moment his steering wheel suddenly stiffened. From on his right shoulder he felt like someone was touching him. A cold hand squeezed his shoulder. In his ear there was a sound from a certain world called failure. At this moment, your face turned green, but after the sound stopped, your car suddenly stopped right in the middle of the road. I remember clearly that my whole body was stiff. I couldn't brake the car. Then I shivered. Then I was able to move my body again, so I quickly opened the door, ran and jumped out of the car. He still clearly remembers the moment he jumped out of the car. He clearly saw the silhouette of a very old woman sitting in the back of his car. You said it was in the middle of a field. There weren't any people, just the car and you. I was very scared. When I just ran to the back of my car, my trunk suddenly opened. What I saw was the box that the customer had sent. I just stood about 4 meters away from my car. Then I took out my phone and called that lady. When the other woman picked up the phone, he asked her, "Sister, tell me the truth, what's inside this box? Don't lie to me anymore, too." Until now, I've encountered some very scary phenomena. This woman on the phone was silent for about 5 to 10 seconds, then she decided to tell him the truth. Inside that container was an urn containing the remains of an acquaintance's mother. That person asked me to send it back to the countryside for. This driver, he was extremely angry. He said, "What is this? Why do you treat me like that? Why did you let me carry that goods in the middle of the night like this? Do you want to kill me or something?" That customer also begged him, stop accepting it, accidentally running there, stop trying, take it to the place to deliver it. Then put it on. He bowed his hands and said, Auntie, it's just for a piece of food and clothing. I listened to people, so I had to take you back to the countryside. I hope you will follow me back to the countryside. Don't be shy with me again, I'm so scared. After he finished speaking, he bowed his head down to bow. When he had just raised his head, on top of the cargo box, out of nowhere, an entire urn appeared, a picture of that aunt. It was stuck on top of the urn, staring at his face. At this point, he was too scared. He fell backwards to the ground, then he crawled away from the cargo box. The door on the back seat of the car automatically opened. Inside a voice of a man. The woman echoed out. When he turned back, his whole body felt weak. He wanted to pee in his pants. No matter where he went, he didn't explode, so he had to crawl closer to the box. Clearly, it's that box. It's wrapped tightly with tape, but I don't understand why there's always an urn lying on top of that box. Then he had to cut off each piece of tape to open the box and put the urn back inside. He tried to calm himself down, then returned to the car and said, Miss, don't show up again. I'll take you home now. I won't take you back to your hometown anymore. Don't worry. While he was carrying the urn back to her house, he felt the presence of that girl sitting in the back of the car, but he didn't dare look back in the rear-view mirror. As well as turning his head to look, he drove and his heart kept pounding continuously. Like it wants to fall out. How lucky I was to finally be able to transport the urn back to the customer's house. When I asked about it, I found out that the spirit of this aunt was very sacred. She kept coming back to see her children at home. That's why the children were very scared, so they decided to give her the ghost. The urn of this aunt's remains went to the countryside, to avoid the situation where the ghost continued to appear here, scaring the children. After that time, I thought I drove for a whole month and never contacted that customer again. I must say the story is very scary, guys, and this is the end of the story. If you find the story interesting, please give me one like and one subscriber. Hope everyone listens to the story. Have fun, see you all in the next videos, goodbye.